Hi, I'm the Lord Z. You know what I love? No? Understandable. This is my first video after all. It's those stick figure combat animations you can find on YouTube. Like the animations from all the animators at Hyun's Dojo or the Gilded Guy. Most of the time they have little to no story or setup and are all about the pure spectacle of the fight and demonstrate the skills of mostly amateur animators. They're just so cool. A lot are really well done too, with an amazing ability to depict the speed and weight of each attack, so they feel fluid and powerful. They're just so incredibly creative with their weapon choices, fighting styles, and even character designs, despite just being stick figures. It's amazing what you can do with a circle and a couple of lines. I've been watching these animations for years, and while I've never actually made one myself, they're just pure fun to watch, and I love them for that. You know what else I love? Dark Souls. Do I even need to explain why Dark Souls is amazing? The deep lore that you could spend hours on end just trying to unwrap. The memorable bosses, each of which provide their own challenge for players to overcome in any way they see fit as long as they get good. The interesting locations the player must traverse, adding another layer of difficulty to the game. The great music, which just fits perfectly and emphasizes just how powerful the creatures you're fighting are. All of these and more come together to make one of the greatest games of all time. I could go on for hours on how each aspect makes Dark Souls such a great series of games. And some people have, but that isn't what I'm here to talk about today. What I am here to talk about is that I've decided to make a game that combines these two things, currently called Inkart. It will be an open world, 3D, third-person RPG that takes the difficulty and skill-based bosses of Dark Souls, but with the customization of characters and combat that is much more fast-paced and in line with combat animations and more move mechanics, such as dashing, climbing walls, and eventually even flight. I know. I watched Iron Pineapple. There are a ton of Souls-likes out there. Everyone and their mother wants to make a Souls-like. It will certainly be a challenge, to say the least, to make a game that stands out from the crowd or is anywhere near close to the quality of FromSoft games, especially for an indie dev like me who has actually very little experience making a game or animating. It is, however, just me with a little help from my brother. He also has a YouTube and Twitch channel, Mulean Studios. Links in the description. Go check him out. He has really cool speed paints and art, and streams them every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. From what I've already done, it will be a monumental task, and well beyond what anyone should try to do as their first game project. Anyway, the basic idea behind the game is that in a world where every creature and person is made of ink, a giant alien has landed and is corrupting all the inhabitants. You play as the Untainted, the one who's unable to be corrupted, and it is your job to go and get strong enough to defeat the alien and save the world from destruction. You will accomplish this task by going around the world, collecting weapons, armor, and magic, and fighting and killing corrupted enemies and bosses, which all drop ink, which the player will use to level up, like Souls and Dark Souls. But unlike Souls, this ink will also be the way the player heals. There will be no other healing items or spells. The only other way to heal will be accessing inkwells, which the player will use to save the game and level up their character, similar to bonfires in Dark Souls. Certain bosses will also drop their hearts, which the player will need to unlock new abilities. These abilities will make fighting the final boss much easier and will be required to access certain areas of the world. Whether I want these abilities to be necessary to actually beat the final boss, I haven't quite decided yet, since I like the idea of someone just running up to where the final boss is at level 1 and then beating him to death with whatever they have. But I definitely want to encourage fighting all the main bosses and make it really difficult if you don't have all of the abilities. While it will most definitely be a challenge, I am not one to shy away from a challenge, even a daunting one such as this. I am, however, one to bite off way more than I can chew, since I get a lot of inspiration to work on a project, only to lose motivation fairly early on when it actually starts to get difficult and the novelty is worn off. So I'm making this devlog series to both show you, the viewer, the progress I have done on the game, as well as to keep myself motivated to keep going. If I can get past that initial slump of motivation, I have no doubt in my mind I can eventually finish it. To help with that, I have decided I'm going to scale back for now and focus on making a demo. With one area, a few weapon and enemy types, and one boss at the end. I'm planning on making it the beginning/tutorial area of the game anyway, before you get out to the open world, so once finished, I shouldn't need to change much to make it work with the rest of the game. Hopefully, with this smaller scope, I will actually be able to complete it in a half-decent time frame as well. If all goes well with the demo, then I will go on and do the rest of the game. I plan on doing devlogs about once a month to make sure I have plenty to show in each one, with the first actual ink art devlog coming out pretty soon after this video, as I've already been working on the game for almost a month now and have plenty to show you guys. If this sounds interesting to you and you would like to play the demo once I eventually finish it, press that like button below the video and subscribe. Currently 0% of viewers are actually subscribed, so if you could be the first, I would really appreciate it. Either way, this has been the Lord Z. Goodbye.